So I can speak to my own personal interview process. Basically, I submitted a resume through a job board, got a call back. I did 5 or 6 phone interviews, and mostly that was like, "Hey Phil, who are you? What's your background? What are you interested in? Let's talk about what's going on in the tech news. Let's talk about maybe 1 or 2 companies you think might be interesting. Why are they interesting? If you spoke to that CEO tomorrow, what sort of questions would you ask them?" After getting over that phone screen, which is actually a pretty interesting interview process because a lot of times you are just talking on the phone and the ability to communicate in that medium is really important. Um, I went into the office, I met 10 or so people one day and then maybe 5 or 6 another day. And so I had 2 of these kind of super day type of interview scenarios where you meet with everyone from other analysts to partners for about a half hour each. And it was more the same, a lot of talking about trends, how do you think about a business, etc. The one thing that really stood out was that we did mock phone calls. And so basically somebody said, "Hey, the phone's ringing, pick it up. I'm the CEO of a company. Let's have a mock conversation right now. And you don't know anything about my business. Let's do 10 minutes, then you tell me whether or not you want to invest." And so basically, it wasn't just intellectually like, "Oh, I think that, Dropbox is interesting because of these reasons." And if I were to talk to Drew Houston, I'd ask him about, the virality coefficient of their product and their margins and stuff like that. It was more like, "Hey, Drew, how are you? How do you build rapport with somebody? How do you ask them about the deep, dark secrets of their metrics in a cordial way where somebody's actually going to give you that information? And how do you get the right information in 10 minutes to then have a conversation with the person who's interviewing you about that business and say, here's what I think and why. If I had another 5 minutes, here's what else I'd ask, etc." The cool thing about this is that 10 minutes seems like a really short time, but throughout my 2 years working in VC, I found that the best CEOs can actually communicate whether or not they're an interesting company in about 15 minutes. That's all it takes. And so especially a partner who kind of knows all the right questions to ask, they're going to tell you the right information. Beyond that, it was more just like, "Hey, is this the type of person we want to work with?" I remember talking to random people in the office, and that's also a way for you to kind of figure out, is this the type of place that I want to work for as well? And yeah, I think the main things are show confidence and poise. You're going to be put in front of CEOs many times in one-on-one meetings, maybe investment bankers, lawyers. Sometimes you're going to honestly be in over your head. You're going to be talking about mobile virtualization technology, and you kind of read a couple blog posts about it the day before. So that's really important, showing that you have good common sense, the ability to ask the right questions, and then just showing that you're somebody who has interests, who's passionate, who's fun to be around, I think is important as well.